Sure.
This reading was Growth of the City by Burgess, and it focuses mainly on the city of Chicago, and it mentions how aspects of life that are peculiarly urban are characterizations of America. And he says that a lot of the most glaring examples of social problems like delinquency, divorce, things of that nature are in our largest American cities. He first starts with expansion as physical growth, and uses development of transportation as a key factor in physical expansion and distribution of population. Mentions how, by definition, metropolitan areas used to be what's regarded as the contiguous area in and around the main city, but now it's starting to be defined more as more by the transportation that lets people work downtown, go to business, and is this still? It's 20.
So not going forward?
I don't think so. I lost my concept of time, but it's been a while.
That's really odd. You want me to fix that?
Alright, so Burgess describes transportation as a key factor in the growth of the city in regards to both physical expansion and the distribution of population. And the metropolitan area used to be defined more along the lines of just the contiguous area in and around the major city, but now it's starting to be defined by how transportation allows people to travel from their homes in the suburbs to where they work in the central business area and shop at the department stores. And expansion process is illustrated by concentric circles. If you did the reading, you saw the diagrams in there. The centralized area is the central business district, and it's also, in the Chicago example, it's the Loop. That's where all the big skyscrapers, department stores are. And just around that is the transition area, which is kind of invaded by the business and manufacturing. And the area right around the transition area is inhabited by industrial workers who are out of the deteriorating transition area. They are still close enough to their work. And the fourth concentric circle is residential areas like high-class apartments and residential homes, just for family dwellings. And then further outside the city are the commuters' homes in the suburbs and what we call satellite cities. And you first process of the growth and invasion of the circles from one to another as succession, which is an ecological term for plants. And the concentration decentralization process is basically characterized by there being the centralized business district, but there are also, and that's the economic and political center of the city. There are also chain stores in these sub-business areas that are still dominated by the main district area, but they're in dispersed places. It's the decentralized aspect of it. And the decentralized theme kind of asks, to what degree is physical growth of city coinciding with social reorganization? Now, he says that there's a natural process to acquiring culture, and that's birth. But the increasing rate of birth minus the rate of death is not keeping up with the total increase in population. So there's a lot of social reorganization, which is really disorganized. But he says that's natural, and in some cases, in the inner city, that leads to homohemia. A lot of homeless people in the inner city, the business district, and they have really nowhere to go in this disorganized reorganization. And just outside that, in the transition areas, and even a little bit in the third circle, is cultural gatherings in Little Italy, Chinatown, some places like South Central LA that are mostly black neighborhoods, and they tend to be slums, but it's better than being homeless in the inner city. And those areas where their old heritage kind of nail salons are run by either Korean or Vietnamese families, and there tend to be a lot of Chinese laundromats. It cites how a lot of Irishmen become police officers, and just that's the way they tend to go in their sections of the just outside the city. And in all this disorganized reorganization, a lot of crime is going to take place, especially when the cultures mesh that close together. And luckily, no one was harmed in the making of this photography. As you can see, no one's in the car, but it's still a major problem. Now, immigration is the biggest factor in the population of major cities growing a lot faster than just the difference between birth rate and death rate. And this is still obviously an issue today. They report that different reports, but by 2050 or 2060, whatever they say, whites are no longer going to be the majority because Hispanics are moving to the United States so rapidly, both illegally and legally. And one of the main questions for Burgess about movement, and he doesn't just use movement as physical movement, but he does in some cases. Mobility is an aspect of movement that's actually significant to physical city growth. And one thing that triggers a lot of movement into and around cities is the kind of exciting, dangerous urban life. And he asks how the mobility kind of takes place, but to me, he didn't really answer it. He kind of answers the why, which is the excitement and the danger of the urban life and differences. And a lot of times, this movement results in a lot of delinquency, crime, social problems cited earlier. As you can see, sometimes you just can't stop certain things no matter how hard you try. And another important factor, kind of going back to transportation and increase in technology. Back in 1860, horse carriage lines carried 50 million passengers in New York City. Then in 1890, trolley cars carried 500 million. And then by 1921, you have kind of the steam engines and L trains carrying 2.5 billion. In Chicago, population increase of only about 20 to 25% over time. That's an increase in 50% almost for people who own telephones. And that, he didn't have the statistic of telephone calls was a little bit different, but still a main issue today as technology is increasing. And the cities are a lot more established today, so everything is different, but the causes of movement, immigration, technology changes are still the same issues today. The question is, how is it going to affect the new cities that are already established?
Does anyone want to tackle that last question or any of the other questions that? What were the other ones that you raised, Carl? It was basically.